Let's begin with prayer.
Lasst uns mit Gebet an.
Dear Father in heaven,
Lieber Vater im Himmel,
thank you for this opportunity to gather together to study your word.
danke für diese Möglichkeit, dass wir zusammenkommen können, um dein Wort zu studieren.
Thank you also that you want to make us understand the parables.
Und danke auch, dass du möchtest, dass wir die Gleichnissen verstehen.
And I want to ask you, Father, that you will bless us as we are going to open the word.
Und ich möchte bitten, Vater, dass du uns segnest, wenn wir jetzt dein Wort auftun.
That you will help Lawrence to lay out his thoughts in the best way possible.
Dass du Bruder Lorenz hilfst, seine Gedanken auf der beste Art darzulegen.
Help the translation and the technique.
Bitte hilft auch die Übersetzung und die Technik.
And help us to make a step forward in this understanding of the truth.
Und hilft uns, einen Schritt voranzumachen in unser Verständnis in die Wahrheit.
Help us to put away all the other thoughts that can be a hindrance.
Und hilft uns, all die anderen Gedanken, die uns verhindern, beiseite zu tun.
And also bless all the people that are watching via live.
Und bitte hilft auch all die Menschen, die über den Livestream zuschauen.
In Jesus' name, amen.
In Jesu Namen. Amen.
Okay, so let's go in our Bibles to Revelation 17.
Lasst uns in unseren Bibeln zur Offenbarung 17 gehen.
And this evening we want to look at this pattern of these two Sunday laws again.
Und heute Abend wollen wir diesen Muster von den 2 Sonntagsgesetzen wieder anschauen.
And we want to start with Revelation 17, but eventually we also go to Revelation 13.
Und wir wollen mit Offenbarung 17 anfangen, aber wir werden letztendlich zur Offenbarung 13 auch gehen.
And there we want to look at some points.
Wir wollen einige Punkte da anschauen.
Okay, so let's begin in Revelation 17, verse 1.
Offenbarung 17 und Vers 1.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so where's John standing again, and where's he carried into?
Bis Vers 3. Also wo steht Johannes nochmal und wohin ist er getragen vom Engel?
17 he's carried back to look at what's just happened.
Yes.
1798 steht er, ist zurückgenommen, um zu schauen, was gerade geschehen
And he's
ist.
carried back into the wilderness, which is this 1260 period. Yes?
Die Wüste zurückgetragen worden, was diese 1260-Periode ist.
Okay, so he's standing here.
Er steht hier,
So you have Daniel, Joseph, John,
so Johannes,
1798,
1798,
and then he sees this 1260 here.
und er sieht diese 1260.
Okay. And what is again the principle? Why is he carried back?
Und was ist das Prinzip? Warum ist er zurückgetragen worden?
Because the past is pointing to the future.
Yes.
Die Vergangenheit weist auf die Zukunft.
So keep your finger here. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1.
Haltet den Platz hier und geht zum Prediger Kapitel 1.
Read verses 9 to 10.
Die Versen 9 und 10.
Says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? it hath been already of old time which was before us. Okay, so that's the principle, right?
Also, da ist das Prinzip.
So therefore, when he stands at the end of the first Sunday law, he's carried back in order to explain to him the Sunday law that is coming, right?
Wenn zurückgenommen ist, diesen Sonntagsgesetz anzuschauen, die gerade passiert ist, es weist auf das, was in der Zukunft noch vorkommt,
Okay, because there's no new thing under the sun.
weil es nichts Neues gibt unter der Sonne.
And the Lord says in Isaiah 46, what does he say?
Und der Herr sagt in Jesaja 46, was?
Remember the
Gedenke
former things of old,
an
right?
den alten Dinge,
Okay, because he declares the end from the beginning.
weil er erklärt das Ende vom Anfang.
But here now in verse 11 it says,
Aber hier in Vers 11 es sagt,
there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So what's the problem with mankind?
so, was ist das Problem mit der Menschheit?
Forgets the past.
Yes, they forget the past,
Die
okay?
vergessen die Vergangenheit.
And therefore they are doomed to repeat it again, okay?
Und deswegen sind sie verflucht, es zu wiederholen.
That's why it's all about the sins of the fathers, right?
So, es handelt sich über die Sünden der Väter.
Nothing to fear for the future.
Yes, we have nothing to fear for the future, lest we forget
The past experience.
our past experience and how the Lord taught us in the past, right?
Wir haben nichts zu fürchten vor die Zukunft, es sei denn, wir vergessen die Vergangenheit und wie der Herr in unserer vergangenen Erfahrung gelehrt hat.
Okay, so now let's go back to Revelation 17.
So, zurück zur Offenbarung 17.
So when John is standing here in 1798, what just happened to the papacy?
So, als Johannes hier in 1798 steht, was ist gerade mit dem Papsttum geschehen?
Deadly wound, right?
Tödliche Wunde gehalten.
So you have the deadly wound. Okay, and when you just go down to verse 9,
Und wenn wir zu Vers 9 hinunterkommen,
it says,
sagt,
and here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Okay,
10.
so in 1798, 5 are fallen, yes?
1798, 5 sind gefallen.
1 is
Einer ist,
this lamb-like beast, right?
das ist dieser lammähnliche Tier.
Okay, and the 7th is yet to come.
Und die 7. werde hier noch kommen.
Yes, it's the power that has not yet received a kingdom.
So,
Okay.
diese Macht, die noch kein Königreich erhalten hat.
Okay, and then it says in verse 11,
Und dann in Vers 11 es sagt,
and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Okay, so what can we see?
das können wir sehen.
So when the 7th kingdom comes up, which is these 10 kings,
So,
yes,
wenn der 7. Königreich heraufkommt, was diese 10 Könige sind,
what will they do?
was werden sie tun?
Yes, they will give their power and their strength unto the beast,
Sie
right?
werden ihre Kraft, ihre Macht dem Tier geben.
Okay, so we understand this is then right here when the beast comes up again.
Wir
Okay,
verstehen, dass das gerade hier ist, wo das Tier wieder heraufkommt.
so we have 10 kings
10 Könige
plus beast.
plus der Tier.
Okay, so therefore it gives us this pattern, right, of first Sunday law, time of peace, and then second Sunday law, right?
Es gibt uns diesen Muster von erstes Sonntagsgesetz oder Zeit des Trübsals,
Yeah, first Sunday law, yeah, time of
erstes
peace.
Sonntagsgesetz, Zeit des Friedens, zweites Sonntagsgesetz.
Okay, and the beast is one of the 7, right?
Das Tier ist eine der 7.
Okay, because it's the 5th, right?
Das ist der 5.
Because when you go now to verse 8,
Denn wenn wir zu Vers 8 gehen,
it says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. Okay, so Yeah, the beast was.
Also der Tier war.
1798 is not,
1798 ist nicht,
but shall ascend again.
aber
Right?
wird wieder heraufkommen.
And rule then together with the 10 kings.
Zusammen mit den 10 Könige regieren.
But then it shall go into
Aber dann wird es
perdition.
ins Verderben gehen.
Okay. I mean, perfectly here at the very end, but just the pattern, right? Gets punished there also.
Perfekterweise ganz am Ende, aber den muss danach auch am Ende im zweiten Sonntagsgesetz.
Okay, but let's continue verse 8 how it continues here.
Aber Vers 8 lesen wir zu Ende.
It says, when it ascends again out of the bottomless pit,
Wenn es wieder aus dem bodenlosen Abgrund
Says-
heraufkommt,
and they that dwell on the earth shall wander, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Okay, so when the beast comes up again, who will wander after the beast?
also wenn das Tier wieder heraufkommt, wer wird dem Tier nach wundern?
All the earth, right? All those that dwell upon the earth, it says.
Die ganze Erde, all diejenigen, die auf die Erde fallen,
Whose names are
dessen Namen nicht
not written in the book of the Lamb's, in the book of life of the Lamb, right?
Buch des Lebens, des Lammes nicht geschrieben ist.
Okay, so keep these thoughts in mind. Okay, so the 10 kings, they give their power to the beast,
So, gedenke daran, die 10 Könige geben ihre Macht dem Tier.
and when they give it, all those that dwell upon the earth that are not written in the Lamb's book of life shall wander after it.
Und wenn
Okay.
sie das tun, all diejenigen, die nichts im Buch des Lammes des Lebens geschrieben ist, werden danach wundern.
Okay, now let's go to Revelation 13.
Gehen wir jetzt zur Offenbarung 13.
Let's begin in verse 1.
Fangen wir in Vers 1 an.
It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the feet of a and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So where is he standing here?
So, wo steht der hier?
I mean, what can you see, or how is he viewing the beast?
So, wie betrachtet er diesen Tier?
Backwards, right?
So, rückwärts.
So he sees the leopard, the bear, and the lion,
Er
okay?
sieht der Leopard, der Bär und der Löwe.
And also the dragon, okay?
Auch der Drache.
But in Daniel 7 it's the other way around, right?
In Daniel 7 ist das andersrum geschrieben.
Okay, so he's looking backwards, okay?
Hier schaut er rückwärts.
And then in verse 3 it says,
In Vers 3 sagt er,
and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. So where is he standing?
Vers 3, wo steht er?
1798, right?
1798.
So just like where he stands in Revelation 17.
Genauso wie er in Offenbarung 17 steht.
And he's, again, like in Revelation 17, he's shown now the past.
Und
Okay.
so wie in Offenbarung 17, er wird die Vergangenheit gezeigt.
Yes. Dragon, leopard, bear and lion.
So,
Okay.
Der Drache, der Leopard, der Bär und der Löwe.
Okay, and where do we see these 4 beasts?
Und wo können wir diesen 4 Tiere sehen?
Daniel 7, right?
Daniel 7.
Okay, so therefore this at least shows us that Daniel 7 has also an application in the first Sunday law. Okay,
So, dies zumindest zeigt uns, dass Daniel 7 eine Anwendung im ersten Sonntagsgesetz hat.
but I mean, Brother Mark, he made this point. We can go now to Daniel 7.
Also Bruder Mark hat diesen bestimmten Punkt gemacht. Und jetzt gehen wir zu Daniel 7.
That Daniel 7 most likely applies more perfectly to the second Sunday law. Okay.
Bruder Mark hat gemeint, dass Daniel 7 höchstwahrscheinlich auf perfektere Weise zum zweiten Sonntagsgesetz zu anwenden ist.
And the reason is
Und der Grund ist,
because he sees now first this 4 beasts coming up, right?
weil er sieht diese 4 Tiere, die heraufkommen.
And when you now continue in verse 9,
Und wenn wir in Vers 9 dann weiterlesen,
it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld them because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. So, until when did he behold all this scenery?
so bis wohin hat all dies gesehen oder
Or the
betrachtet?
deadly wound.
Yes, okay, deadly wound.
Bis zum
So
tödlichen
it's,
Wunde.
he's typified there, but
Yes. But eventually it's perfectly until the end, right?
Ganz
Yes.
perfekterweise ist es hier am Ende.
and that's why I think that in Daniel 2, for instance, right,
Daniel 2 zum Beispiel.
Nebuchadnezzar's told that he's this head of gold, and he's getting punished there. The head, which is the gold, the silver,
Yes. Gold, silver,
brass,
brass,
uh,
iron.
iron.
Also Bronze, Silber, Gold, Silber, Bronze und Eisen.
So I think in some sense you can show Daniel 7 is also, because it's the same illustration, it's showing these same four things leading you down to the judgment.
Daniel 7 zeigt dann auch diese 4 Sachen, die führen bis zum letztendlichen Gericht hinab.
But we know that the seventh plague, or the type of the seventh plague, is illustrated in the Sunday law. And Revelation 13 shows us that those
Four
four are in there, and hence it's been typified in the Sunday law crisis.
Wir wissen aber auch, dass die 7. Plage auch in der Sonntagsgesetz vorausgeschattet ist. Und in Offenbarung 13 können wir sehen, dass das alles da reinpasst. Und deswegen Daniel 7 ist auch typifiziert, auch hier im Sonntagsgesetz, Krise auch.
Yes, because Revelation 13 shows us the four beasts in the Sunday law, right?
Und Offenbarung 13 zeigt uns diese 4 Tiere im Sonntagsgesetz.
Okay. And Daniel 7, still need to fully prove this, but if it is then this parallel to Daniel 2, it will, you have the lion, the bear, the leopard, and the dragon leading you down to the second coming.
7, und das müssen wir noch völliger befestigen oder beweisen, aber wenn das eine Parallel ist zu Daniel 2, dann hätte man die Löwe, der Bär, der Leopard und der Drache am Ende.
Because at the end he gets cast into the flame of fire. Revelation 19, when Christ comes, he throws him in the
Hier in Daniel 7 am Ende wird er im Feuerflamme geworfen werden und in Offenbarung 19, wenn Christus wiederkommt, Satan wird ins Feuer geworfen.
Another beast gets.
Der Tier wird ins Feuer geworfen.
Okay, so now let's go back to Revelation 13.
Gehen wir zurück zur Offenbarung 13.
So you can see John is standing here also 1798. Sees the deadly wound.
Dass Johannes auch hier in 1798 steht, er sieht die tödliche Wunde.
And he's looking backwards first.
Er schaut zurück zuerst,
But then he's also showing, is looking forward.
aber dann zeigt er auch nach vorne.
Just like in Revelation 17, right?
Genauso wie in Offenbarung 17.
First taking backwards and then he's showing.
what's coming.
Yeah,
Past,
yes.
present, future.
Wird auch gezeigt, was gerade passiert ist, und dann wird die Zukunft gezeigt. Also
Okay.
es ist der Vergangenheit, steht im Gegenwart und die Zukunft
So let's
gezeigt.
read verse 3 again and once more.
Vers 3.
Yes, Revelation 13:3.
Offenbarung 13 und Vers 3 nochmal lesen.
It says, And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Okay, so the deadly wound here would be then healed here, right?
Die tödliche Wunde, die hier ist, würde dann hier geheilt werden.
And what did all the world not do?
Und was tat die ganze Welt hier?
Wonder.
Wonders after the beast.
Sie
Yeah.
wundern den Tieren nach.
What did it say in Revelation 17?
Was sagte es in Offenbarung 17?
Yeah, all those that were not written in the Lamb's book of life,
So, all diejenigen, die nicht im Lammesbuch des Lebens geschrieben waren,
all those that dwelt upon the earth, they wandered after the beast, right?
diejenigen, die auf die Erde weilten, die wunderten oder wanderten den Tieren nach.
Yes, Wunder.
Wunder.
Okay, and let's just continue with these verses, verse 4.
So Vers 4.
And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So how long can he continue?
So, wie lange soll er andauern?
42 months, right?
42 Monate.
42 months or 1260, right?
42 Monate, es ist gleich 1260.
And verse 6.
Vers 6.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. Okay, so he can now blaspheme the Lord, and he's also ruling over the whole earth, right?
Vers 7. Also er kann den Herrn blasphemieren und regiert über die ganzen Erde.
In verse 8.
Vers 8.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Okay? So it's exact. Verse 8 is a parallel to Revelation 17, verse 8. Yes?
Vers 8 ist eine Parallel zu Offenbarung 17 und Vers
Now
8.
just keep your finger here. Let's read again Revelation 17, 8.
Halte den Platz hier und lesen wir nochmal Offenbarung 17, Vers 8.
It says, The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Okay? Everybody sees this?
Kann jeder das sehen?
What does mean, this foundation of the world and this beginning point?
Yes, because God,
Yes.
when he brings forth Christ, it's typifying the point right as he was making in the class, right at the very end of the 1,000 years, when all the redeemed will inherit the earth. Right, so when, in Proverbs 8:22, he already knows right there and then who's going to inherit the earth.
Yes. And it's also,
Yes.
Yes, but what I meant is at the, would this be at the final review where it's referring to, because
yeah, I mean, when are you written in the book of life?
So, wann bist du im Buch des Lebens geschrieben?
Yeah, when you're born again.
Wenn du neu geboren bist.
So,
It says it in the,
Just
your-
marks this way mark here where the born again experience is marked. Okay.
Es markiert diese Wegmarke hier, wo die Neugeburt-Erfahrung markiert
says
ist.
your names are written in
And you
the
must
book.
retain, you must retain your name in the book.
Du musst deinen Namen in diesem Buch bewahren.
Because when the beast comes up here and you didn't retain it,
Und wenn der
you will
Tier
be
hier
deceived. Okay.
heraufkommt und du hast es nicht bewahrt, dann wirst du verführt werden.
And you want to make a point now?
Just saying, it's this. I'm trying to remember. It's in Luke somewhere where it says, "Think it notes."
A strange thing.
No, he says, "But rejoice that your names are written in the book." of heaven."
Luke 10.
Luke 10. Yeah.
Okay, keep your finger here in Revelation. Let's go to Luke
Verse
10.
19.
Also den Platz in Offenbarung und geht zu Lukas 10.
It's marked when Satan falls from heaven, so it's like the punishment.
So let's read verses 17 to 20.
Die Verse 17 bis 20 lesen wir.
It says, And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So when are the devils subject to you, and when is Satan cast out of heaven?
Wann sind die Teufel dich untertan und wann ist Satan aus dem Himmel geworfen?
The end.
Yeah, the end, right?
Ende.
And in the beginning, right?
Am Ende und am Anfang.
Okay. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice, because your names are written in heaven. Okay, so we know the devils are subject unto you. Where's your name written?
So, wenn die Teufel dir untertan sind, wo ist dein Name geschrieben?
In the book of life. Okay.
Im Buch des Lebens.
When you ride the ass, now your name is written in heaven.
Wenn du den Esel reitest, dann sind deine Namen im Himmel geschrieben.
In the church, they understand it, but they don't understand it. Okay.
Die Gemeinde, die verstehen es, aber verstehen es doch nicht.
In a sense, when you get baptized, what happens with your name?
In dem Sinne, wenn du getauft wirst, was geschieht mit deinem Namen?
It gets written in the church books,
Es
right?
wird im Gemeindebuch geschrieben.
Which is a type for your name written in heaven.
Was
Okay.
ein Typus ist, dass dein Name im
Won't
Himmel
save
geschrieben
you.
ist.
Yes, it won't save you.
Das
Okay.
wird dich nicht retten.
Okay, because the church is, or the institution of the church is not necessarily the true church of God. Okay.
Die Organisation der Gemeinde ist nicht unbedingt die Gemeinde Gottes.
Okay, in a sense that at the moment the SDA Church, or this organization of the SDA Church,
Also die Organisation der SDA-Gemeinde
is not born again, right?
ist nicht vom Neuen geboren.
Okay, therefore the Lord must raise up this movement, and all those then that will join the movement once it's born again, when their name is written really in the church books, because they're truly born again, then they're also written in heaven. Okay.
Deswegen muss der Herr diese Bewegung aufbringen, und wenn all diejenigen die Bewegung anschließen, wenn
When they are, so when the movement is born again,
also wenn die Bewegung neu geboren ist
and all those that join the movement truly being born again,
und all diejenigen, die Bewegung sich anschließen, neu geboren werden, also wahrlich neu geboren werden,
then when their names are written in the church books, on the, I mean, I don't think we have like church books in the sense, okay, but
dann werden ihre Namen im Himmel geschrieben.
then will be their names written in heaven. Yes. Okay, so good. Now let's go back to Revelation 13.
So, gehen wir jetzt zurück zu Offenbarung 13.
Let's read verse 8 again and then verse 9.
Die Verse 8 nochmal und Vers 9 auch.
It says, "And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear." So, what does this remind you of?
So, woran erinnert uns das?
And parables.
Die
Okay.
Gleichnisse.
So also this is a parable. Okay.
Auch dies hier ist ein Gleichnis.
Okay. So, and once we understand the parables, we will also understand this parable fully. Okay.
Und wenn wir die Gleichnisse verstehen, dann werden wir auch dieses Gleichnis völlig verstehen.
Okay. So, now let's go back to verse 4.
Gehen wir zu Vers 4 zurück.
It says, "And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who's like unto the beast? Who's able to make war with him?" So, who gave the beast power here?
So, wer ist es, der dem Tier Kraft gab?
The dragon,
Der
right?
Drache.
Okay, but Revelation 13 is a parallel to Revelation 17, yes?
Offenbarung 13 ist eine Parallele zu Offenbarung 17.
And who gave the power in Revelation 17?
In Offenbarung 17, wer gab die Kraft?
The 10 kings.
Die 10 Könige.
Yes. That's why it says kings, rulers and governors are represented by the dragon, right?
Könige, Regierende und Gouverneure werden durch den Drachen dargestellt.
Okay, so they give now the power unto the beast.
Sie gaben ihren Kraft dem Tier.
Right here, yes?
Gerade hier,
At the second Sunday.
bei den zweiten Sonntagsgesetz.
But also in principle, obviously, at the first Sunday.
Aber natürlich im Prinzip auch bei dem ersten Sonntagsgesetz.
And then it says, and they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Okay, so everybody is now afraid to make war with the beast, yes?
Also jeder hat Angst, Krieg mit dem Tier zu führen.
So keep your finger here. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 9.
Haltet den Platz weiterhin hier und geht zum 5. Buch Mose Kapitel 9.
Because here, when they built the Tower of Babel,
Hier, wo sie den Turm Babels aufrichteten,
it reaches unto
es reicht bis zum
heaven, right?
Himmel.
Okay. Let's read now Deuteronomy 9, verse 1 and 2.
5. Buch Mose 9, die Verse 1 und 2.
And it speaks about when the Lord said, "Go and possess the land." Okay.
Spricht darüber, wenn der Herr sagt, geht und nimmt das Land ein.
Hear, O Israel, thou art to pass over Jordan this day, to go in to possess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to heaven. Fenced up to where?
Bis wohin sind sie bebaut?
Up to heaven. Okay.
Bis zum Himmel.
A people great and tall, the people of the Anakims, whom thou knowest, and of whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak? Okay, so what did they hear?
Was haben sie gehört? Giants.
Who can stand before the children of Anak, right?
Wer kann stehen vor die Kindern von Anak?
What did it say in Revelation 13?
Was hat es in Offenbarung 13 gesagt?
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him, right?
Wer ist wie der Tier? Wer kann mit ihm Krieg führen?
Okay, so the children of Anak, there were these giants, yes?
Die Kinder von Anak waren diesen Riesen.
And who is the giant?
Und wer ist der Riese?
It's Goliath, right?
Goliath.
And you can also show he's the second son-in-law, okay?
Man kann auch zeigen, dass er diese zweite Sonntagsgesetz ist.
Because what is his armory again?
Denn aus was ist seine Panzer, seine Waffenrüstung? Seine Rüstung?
No, iron and brass, right?
Eisen und
No,
Bronze.
no. He's got an iron spear, but it's brass. It's brass from head to toe. But the point is, because this is the point, the head of gold is the first,
Yes.
and then
The
it's the
cross
silver, and then the third one is brass.
Er ist Brass.
Right, and that's
Bronze.
specifically what it says in 1 Samuel 17. From head to toe is brass, but he's got a
Iron spear.
iron spear.
Yes. Okay. Let's actually go there. Let's look at this. Keep your finger in Deuteronomy. Let's go to, I think it's 1 Samuel 17.
Because
1. Samuel 17, haltet den Platz hier. 5. Buch Mose.
this is one of the points you can prove the two Sunday laws from.
Das ist einer von den Punkten, womit man die zwei Sonntagsgesetze beweisen kann.
Sorry? 1 Samuel 17. Ah, here. Okay. And let's read verse 4, beginning verse 4.
Dann fangen wir in Vers 4 an zu lesen.
Or let's begin in even verse 3.
Sogar Vers 3.
And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. What does it remind you of?
So, von was erinnert uns das?
It's like Jerusalem and
Mount of Olives.
Mount of Olives.
Yeah, it's like the valley of Armageddon. Yes.
Wie dem Tal von Armageddon.
Okay. So, and there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had graves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. Yes, okay, so armory was of brass, but his weapon had this iron head.
So, seine Rüstung war aus Bronze, aber seine Waffe hat diese Eisen.
Is the doctrine he's advocating is the doctrine of Rome.
So, und das stellt, dass er befürwortet die Irrlehre von Rom.
Yes. Okay, so he's these children of Anak. He's this giant.
Er
Okay.
ist diese Kinder von Anak, diese Riese.
Okay. And what did the Israelites do? Because we studied this. Yes.
Was taten die Israeliten? Das haben wir studiert.
When they came out of Egypt,
Als sie aus Ägypten herausgekommen sind,
where did they go?
wo gingen sie?
What did Paul tie together with the Exodus?
So, was hat Paulus mit dem Auszug verbunden?
Okay, let's go to Galatians chapter 3 again.
Gehen wir zu Galater 3.
Let's read verses 16 to 17.
Die Verse 16 und 17.
Now to Abram and his seed were the promises made. The promises, okay? He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed which is Christ. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before God in Christ, the law which was 430 years after, cannot disannul, that it should make the promise of none effect. Okay, so when was the law given?
So, wann ist das Gesetz gegeben worden?
430 years after
430 Jahre nach,
the promise was made to Abraham.
nachdem
Right?
die Verheißung Abraham gegeben wurde.
Okay, so where does it bring you to?
So, wo bringt uns da hin?
Yes, to Mount Sinai. Yes?
Zum Berg Sinai.
Okay, because this is where the law was given.
Und das ist hier, wo das Gesetz gegeben wurde.
Okay. And when did the children of Israel depart out of Israel?
Auf Israel.
Egypt, sorry.
So, wann kamen die Kinder Israels aus Ägypten heraus?
Yeah, let's go to Exodus 12.
Passen. Also gehen wir zum 2. Buch Mose 12.
And we did this study some while ago, but not so long ago.
Studien haben wir einige Zeit, nicht allzu lang gemacht.
Maybe 3 months ago or so.
Vielleicht vor 3 Monaten oder so.
And it says here in verse 40 and 41.
Es sagt in die Verse 40, 41.
Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. So 430 years, right?
So 430 Jahre.
And from when were the 430 years reckoned?
Und von wann, von wo sind die 430 Jahre gezählt?
Because Abraham was said, thy seed shall be 400 years in captivity, right?
Abraham wurde gesagt, deine Same wird 400 Jahre in Gefangenschaft sein.
And when did the captivity 400 years begin?
Und wann fangen diese Gefangenschaft der 400 Jahre an?
Yeah, when Ishmael mocked Isaac,
Als
right?
Ishmael Isaak verspottete.
Okay, but 30 years before that, this was when when Abraham came out of
Also Babylon.
Babylon. Okay.
Also 30 Jahre zuvor, als Abraham aus Babylon herauskam.
Okay.
Because he made the promise.
Yes, this is when he made the promise
Promise
first time.
original.
So,
Yes.
und da war das erstes Mal die Verheißung ihm gegeben.
Okay. So, and it's the self-same day. So the promise to Abraham was given on the Passover, and exactly 430 years later, on Passover, they came out of Egypt.
Es ist
Okay.
genau denselben Tag. Also die Verheißung wurde Abraham am Passa gegeben und 430 Jahre später sind sie am Passa aus Ägypten herausgezogen.
So this is the coming out of Egypt. Right?
Hier ist das Herauskommen von Ägypten.
So it's Passover. Yes.
Das ist Passa eben.
Okay. But Paul also says 430 years later brings you to where?
Aber Paulus sagt, auch 430 Jahre später bringt dich wohin?
Mount Sinai.
Zum
Okay.
Sinai.
So he ties together the Exodus with Mount Sinai.
So,
Right?
er verbindet den Auszug aus Ägypten mit Sinai
And
zusammen.
Mount Sinai is which feast?
Und Sinai ist welches Fest?
Pentecost,
Es
right?
ist Pfingsten.
Okay, because they exactly came, or the law was spoken from Sinai exactly on Pentecost, yes?
Weil das Gesetz von Sinai würde am Pfingsten gesprochen.
And we looked at this, okay.
Das haben wir angeschaut.
Alright, so, and is this Pentecost here?
Ist das hier Pfingsten?
It's August 11th, 1840,
11.
yes?
August 1840.
Yes?
Amen.
The outpouring of the Spirit.
Das ist Ausgießung des Geistes.
Okay. So, and then they were at Sinai, and how long were they at Sinai?
Sie waren am Sinai. Und wie lange waren sie da am Sinai?
2 years, right?
2 Jahre.
Okay. And this was this time of peace where they were instructed to build the sanctuary and all these things.
Das
Yes?
ist die Zeit des Friedens, wo sie unterwiesen worden waren, das Heiligtum zu bauen.
Okay. But then
Andere Sachen.
they were commanded to depart from Sinai to where?
Aber
Kadesh
dann
Barnea, right?
sind sie befohlen, von Sinai aufzubrechen nach Kadesh Barnea.
Okay, and then this trouble began because now the rebellion started,
Und
right?
dann fängt dieses Trübsal an, weil die Rebellion kam auf.
Okay. So therefore we have this illustration that when they came here they didn't want to enter the land, right?
Diese Darstellung, sie sind hier angekommen und wollten in das Land nicht hineingehen.
Okay, and therefore they had to go this extra round until all the rebels died and then they could enter the land, right?
Sie sind nochmal durch die Wüste, bis alle Rebellen ausgestorben sind und sie nochmal in das Land hineinkommen konnten.
Okay, but why did they rebel here? Why didn't they go?
Aber warum haben sie hier rebelliert?
Because of the giants, right?
Wegen den Riesen,
Because of Goliath.
wegen
Okay.
Goliath,
Because of the children of Anak.
wegen diese Kindern von Anak.
Who is able to make war against the children of Anak? Right?
Wer ist imstande, Krieg gegen die Kinder Anaks zu führen?
Who is able to make war with this beast here?
Wer ist imstande, Krieg mit diesem Tier hier zu führen?
Okay, it's only those that have the faith
Es sind nur
Okay.
diejenigen,
of Christ.
die die Glaube Christi haben.
Because it says now when you go back to Revelation 13,
Weil es sagt, wenn wir jetzt zum Offenbarung 13 zurückgehen,
verses 8 to 10,
die Versen 8 bis 10.
it says, And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay, so the patience and the faith of the saints.
Geduld und die Glaube der Heiligen.
And what faith of the saints is it?
Und welcher Glaube der Heiligen ist das?
Faith of Jesus.
Der
Yeah?
Glaube von Jesus.
Because when you go now to Revelation 14,
Denn wenn wir jetzt zur Offenbarung 14 gehen,
third angel's message,
der dritte Engelsbotschaft,
not to worship the beast and its image, right?
nicht den Tier und sein Bild anzubeten,
Not to worship.
nicht den Tier und sein Bild
And
anzubeten.
then verse 12,
Und dann Vers 12.
here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Okay? So they are the ones eventually that will overcome this beast.
So, die sind diejenigen, die letztendlich diesen Tier überwinden
And
werden.
they will make war with the beast and will overcome it.
Sie werden Krieg mit dem Tier führen und es überwinden.
And where do we see this?
Und wo können wir das sehen?
Let's go to Revelation 17.
Gehen wir zur Offenbarung 17.
Let's read verse 13 and 14.
Die Verse 13 und 14.
It says, These, the 10 kings, have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Okay? So they will make war, but the Lord will make war with them also and will overcome them.
So, sie werden Krieg führen, aber der Herr wird auch Krieg mit sie führen und sie überwinden.
Okay. And all those that are with the Lord are the called, chosen, and faithful ones.
All
Okay.
diejenigen, die mit dem Herrn sind, diejenigen, die berufen, ausgewählt und treu sind.
And the Lord comes here, right?
Und der Herr kommt hier an,
To punish them.
um sie zu bestrafen.
Okay. Good. So, yeah, therefore we can see here when you go back to Revelation 13,
So, deswegen können wir sehen, wenn wir jetzt zu Offenbarung 13 zurückgehen,
all those that are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life, they will not dare to fight this system. Okay.
all diejenigen, die nicht im Buch des Lebens des Lammes geschrieben sind, sie werden es nicht wagen, gegen diesen System anzugehen.
Okay. So only those that have the faith of Jesus, they will eventually overcome it.
Nur diejenigen, die die Glaube Jesu haben, werden es letztendlich überwinden.
Okay. So, and what could we see in the story of Goliath?
Und was konnten wir sehen in die Geschichte von Goliath?
And what did the Israelites do?
Was taten die Israeliter?
I mean, here it says, right, that what did the beast do for 14 months?
So, was tat das Tier hier für 42 Monate?
Blaspheme God's name, right?
Es hat Gottes Name blasphemiert,
What did Goliath do?
gelästert. Was tat
Yeah,
Goliath?
he blasphemed for 40 days, right?
Er hat gelästert 40 Tage.
And at the end, the battle of Armageddon, David then came with the faith of Jesus, right?
Und am Ende, bei dem Kampf von Armageddon, kam David mit der Glaube Jesu ihm entgegen.
Okay, and he chopped off this head of this giant.
Und
Okay.
hat den Kopf dieser Riese abgehauen.
Okay, so, alright. But I want to make a last point,
Aber ein letztes Punkt,
because it says here in verse 4,
denn es sagt hier in Vers 4, wir sind in Offenbarung 13,
verse 4 and 5,
die
okay.
Verse 4 und 5.
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Okay, so we can see this power is given to the beast, yes?
Wir können sehen, dass diese Kraft oder diese Macht dem Tier gegeben
And it's given by the 10 kings,
und es
yes?
wird durch den 10 Königen gegeben.
Okay, so, and they have power to give it to the beast, right?
Sie haben die Kraft, es ihm zu geben.
Okay, and the dragon, who's the dragon?
Und der Drache, wer ist das?
Yes, 10 kings,
Die 10 Könige.
but according to Revelation 12,
Aber gemäß Offenbarung 12
it's Satan, right?
ist Satan.
And verse 9,
Vers 9.
and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay, so Satan has, power to give to the beast, right?
Satan hat hier jetzt Macht, dem Tier zu geben.
Okay, he's now controlling these kings, and he can give their power to the papacy.
Er
Okay.
kontrolliert die Könige und er kann ihrem Kraft dem Papsttum geben.
But when you go now to Romans 13,
Aber wenn wir jetzt zu Römer 13 gehen,
let's begin in verse 1.
Römer 13 und Vers 1.
And in Daniel 2, right, we read about that God is the one that sets up kings and takes down kings. Yes?
In Daniel 2 haben wir gelesen, dass Gott, der ist derjenige, der Könige ein- und absetzt.
Okay, so whenever he takes down a king, he will also set up a king.
So, wenn immer er einen König absetzt, wird er auch zugleich einen aufsetzen.
So let's go to Romans 13, beginning verse 1.
Römer 13 und fangen wir in Vers 1 an.
It says, Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there's no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So therefore these kings, where do they receive their power from?
So, diese Könige, woher erhalten sie ihre Kraft?
From God, right?
Von Gott her.
Okay, Adam, when he was created,
So, Adam, als er geschaffen wurde,
was he a king?
war er ein König?
Yes.
Wohl.
Did he receive dominion from God?
Hat er Herrschaft von Gott erhalten?
Yes, he received power, right?
Ja, er hat Kraft erhalten.
But what did he do with the power?
Aber was tat er damit?
Gave it to Satan,
Er
right?
hat Satan gegeben.
Yeah, right here.
Gerade hier.
Satan says, if you bow down and worship me, I can give you all this. So
Yes.
he's the one that's given them the dominion there.
Yes, exactly.
So, Satan sagt, wenn du dich niederbeugst und mich anbetest, ich gebe dir all diesen Kraft. Also der ist derjenige, der hier Herrschaft verleiht.
Because, let's go to the scripture, let's go to Luke 4.
Gehen wir zu Lukas 4.
Verse 5 to 6,
Die Versen 5 und 6,
or 5 to 7 even.
5 bis 7 sogar.
There we can see a principle.
Hier
Okay.
können wir ein Prinzip sehen.
It says, and the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. Okay, so he said he will give you power, right?
Sagt, ich werde Kraft geben.
But he only can give power because it was given unto him,
Aber
right?
kann nur Kraft geben, weil es ihm zuerst gegeben wird.
Okay. And he gained it through deception.
Und
Yes?
hat es durch Verführung gewonnen.
Yeah. Adam, he gave him the power.
Adam hat ihm den Kraft gegeben.
Okay. So when he got deceived. Okay.
So als Adam verführt wurde.
And now Satan, he can give power if you do what?
Und jetzt Satan kann Kraft geben, wenn du was tust.
Worship him,
Wenn
right?
du ihm anbetest.
And that's why it says in Revelation 13, they worship the dragon and they worship the beast. Okay.
Deswegen sagt es in Offenbarung 13, sie beteten den Drache und dem Tier
The
an.
point is that when Christ comes out of the water, all who believe on him, he gives them power to become the sons of God.
So, wenn Christus aus dem Wasser herauskommt, all denjenigen, die an ihm glauben, er gibt sie Kraft, Söhne Gottes zu werden.
But he counterfeits it at the beginning, right?
Aber Satan fälscht das am Anfang,
Which is either here or there. But
was hier oder da.
so when he comes out of the water there, he has power to make you sons of Satan.
So, wenn Satan aus dem Wasser hier herauskommt, da hat der Kraft, dich ein Satanssohn zu machen.
Yes, because he lets fire come down from heaven. That's his false Holy Spirit.
Er lässt Feuer vom Himmel herabfallen, diesen falschen Heiligen Geist.
Yes. So he's giving this false baptism here.
Er
Okay.
gibt diese falsche Taufe her,
Okay.
hier an dieser Stelle.
Yes. So the point, but the point I want to make is that originally the Lord gives power here, right?
Die Punkt, die ich aber machen wollte, ist, dass ursprünglich gab der Herr hier Kraft.
Who alone has power?
So, wer ist es allein, der Kraft hat?
The Lord, right?
Gott eben.
All derive the power from God. Okay.
Alle bekommen ihre Kraft von Gott.
Okay, so therefore, but Satan is the one who's this usurper, right? He's taking these things that the Lord put in place and apply to himself.
Und
Okay.
Satan ist diesen Thronräuber, der nimmt diese Dinge, die der Herr aufgestellt hat, um auf sich zu reizen.
Okay, so therefore, this power that the kings receive here at the beginning,
So deswegen diesen Kraft, die die Könige hier am Anfang erhalten,
from the Lord,
vom Herrn,
he's now stealing and using now for his own purpose.
er
Okay.
stehlt es hier und benutzt es oder setzt es ein für seine eigenen Zwecke.
And he's giving this power to whom he will. Okay.
Und er gibt diesen Kraft, wem er möchte.
Okay. So let's go now to Ezra chapter 7.
Gehen wir jetzt zum Ezra Kapitel 7.
Because Satan, he said, all these kingdoms, they are given unto me, and I give it to whomsoever I will.
Satan sagt, all diese Königreiche sind mir gegeben und ich gebe es, wem ich möchte.
He's this dragon power. He's this false king of kings. Okay.
Diese Drachenmacht, dieser falsche König der Könige.
But there's always the true,
Es gibt immer der Wahre,
and Christ is the true one, right?
Christus ist der Wahre.
And the kings here at the beginning, they illustrate Christ,
Und die
right?
Könige hier am Anfang stellen Christus dar.
Okay. And in Ezra chapter 7,
In Ezra Kapitel 7,
and this morning, maybe you can first read Ezra chapter 1 again.
heute Morgen, also so vielleicht können wir zuerst Ezra Kapitel 1 lesen,
Remind ourselves. Let's read verses
zu erinnern,
1 and 2.
die ersten 2 Versen.
Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judea. In verse 3 also.
Vers 3 auch.
Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. So, what does Cyrus say here when he sets God's people free?
Was sagt Kyros hier, als Gottes Volk freisetzt?
Will we build the temple?
Geht und baut den Tempel
Yes,
auf.
go and build the temple. Okay. But he's king over how many countries?
Aber er ist König über wie viele Länder?
All,
Kingdoms
yes,
of the earth.
all
Alle,
the kingdoms of the earth.
alle Königreiche der Erde.
Okay, now let's go to Ezra chapter 7.
Jetzt Ezra Kapitel 7,
Because he's illustrating Christ.
weil
Okay?
er stellt Christus dar.
Because he sets God's people free.
Weil er setzt Gottes Volk frei.
And now let's go to Artaxerxes.
Wenn wir jetzt zu Artaxerxes,
He also made a decree.
er hat auch eine Dekret erlassen.
And let's begin in verse 12.
Vers 12 fangen wir an.
It says, Artaxerxes, king of kings, unto Ezra the priest, a scribe of the law of the God of heaven, perfect peace, and at such a time, I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of his 7 counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand. Okay, so what is he doing?
Was tut er?
Making a similar decree, right?
Er macht ein ähnliches Dekret.
He also says, go up to Jerusalem
Er sagt, geht nach
Okay.
Jerusalem
and just build the temple.
und
Okay.
baut den Tempel.
And he says it's in a time of perfect peace, right?
Er sagt, das ist eine Zeit des perfekten Friedens.
And he's called the King of Kings,
Und
right?
hier ist er genannt ein König der Könige.
Okay, like Cyrus, he's ruling over the whole earth
So wie Kyros, er regiert über die ganze Erde.
in a type of Christ. Okay,
So ein Typus von Christus.
okay. So the point I want to make is
Und der Punkt, den ich machen möchte,
that you have this true kings set up here.
dass diese wahre Könige hier aufgestellt werden.
They typify now Christ,
Sie schatten Christus voraus.
the true King of Kings,
Der wahre König der Könige.
and Satan is here, this false King of Kings. Okay,
Satan ist hier, dieser falsche König der Könige.
and he's now
Usurping.
usurping. Yes.
Und er räumt den Thron.
Okay. So in this sense, you can see now the dragon, when it gives now the power unto the beast, it's this false, the usurper. Okay.
Hier kannst du sehen, der Drache, wenn es den Macht den Tier gibt, ist es der falsche, den Thronräuber.
Okay. Because the true kings at the beginning they would never do this.
Weil
Okay.
die wahre Könige am Anfang wird das nie tun.
Okay. And we also looked at the story of Esther when we go to Esther now.
Und wir haben auch die Geschichte von Esther angeschaut, wenn wir jetzt dahin gehen.
And I was, Brother Mark brought up this thought about that it's actually a king. Okay.
Mark hat diese Gedanke erwähnt, es ist eigentlich ein König,
Ahasuerus. Okay.
Ahasuerus,
But he's playing the role of Christ. Okay.
aber er spielt die Rolle von Christus.
I was struggling with this thought that he was marrying Esther. Okay.
Ich habe meine Schwierigkeiten damit gehabt, dass er Esther heiratete.
But then Brother Scott, he just mentioned this. What about Ahab, for instance? Okay.
Jemand hat erwähnt, so was ist mit Ahab zum
Ja.
Beispiel.
Ahab, he also married a woman and he was a king, right?
Ahab hat auch eine Frau geheiratet, er war auch ein
And
König.
whom did Ahab marry?
Und wer hat Ahab geheiratet?
Jezebel. Okay.
Isabel.
So and then it click in my mind. Yes. Okay. It just means the kings that they now marry this doctrine. Okay.
Das heißt nur, dass die Könige diese Lehre heiraten.
It's
So-
because Jezebel sits on his mind.
Yes.
Isabel sitzt
Yes.
auf seinen Verstand,
So when he
diese Frau.
marries Esther,
So
Yes.
wenn Ahasuerus Esther
he's really
heiratet,
marrying Christ because
er
he's married
heiratet Christus.
the union of churches,
It's a union of church and state, but not that church and state will be together.
true
but-
church and state.
Yes.
Es ist der Vereinigung von den wahren Staat und Kirche.
But it's not in the sense that you will be united with the king in a true sense, but
No,
the
the
doctrine
doctrine,
will lead
Also es
us.
ist
Yes.
nicht in dem, dass du mit einem König im wahren Sinne vereint wird, sondern dass er mit die Lehre vereint wird.
But here, the counterfeit woman,
Aber hier die falsche Frau,
it will not only be the doctrine that will be married to the mind of the king, but literally the church and state will be.
wird
Yes,
combined.
an allegory.
nicht nur die Lehre, die mit dem verstandenen König verheiratet hat, sondern buchstäblich Staat und Kirche.
Okay, so therefore, as long as God's people through the truth will basically guide the mind of the king. Okay,
Deswegen, solange das
God's people
Gottes Volk, also den Verstand, den König führen wird, richtig führen
through
wird,
the truth,
durch die Wahrheit,
and because the kings they will hear the truth, right?
weil die Könige, die werden die Wahrheit hier hören.
As long as this truth remains with them, they will be righteous kings.
Also,
Okay,
solange dass diese Wahrheit bei sie bleibt, dann werden sie gerechte Könige
but
bleiben.
according to Isaiah 23, what do we know?
Aber gemäß Jesaja 23, was wissen wir?
Let's go there
Lass
again.
uns dahin. Jesaja 23.
Verse 15.
Vers 15.
It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of 70 years shall Tyre sing as an harlot. Take an harp, go about the city, thou harlot, that hast been forgotten. Make sweet melodies, sing many songs, that thou mayest be remembered. And it shall come to pass at the end of 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth."
Vers 17.
Okay, so Tyre is forgotten for 70 years here.
Tyros ist vergessen 70 Jahre lang.
For the days of one king,
Die
right?
Tage eines Königs.
The sixth in Revelation 17.
Offenbarung 17, der 6.
But what is she doing here in this
Aber
time?
was tut sie während dieser
Singing.
Zeit hier?
Yeah, she's singing.
Sie
Yeah.
singt,
In order that she is again be remembered, it says,
so
right?
dass sie wieder erinnert wird. wie
And
es
she's
hier sagt.
remembered here at the end of the 70 years.
Hier am
Okay.
Ende von 70 Jahren wird sie erinnert.
And then she commits fornication again.
Und dann begeht sie Hurerei wieder.
Okay, so therefore
Und
this singing, as Brother Mark said, you can show this in the Bible, is you have the true singing, okay, it's the true doctrine, and the false singing is this
So,
false doctrine.
dieser
Okay.
Gesang, und das kannst du zeigen von der Bibel, also es gibt eine wahre Gesang, das ist die wahre Lehre, falsches Gesang, falsche Lehre.
So therefore this harlot woman, she is behind the scenes, trying to deceive the kings again, that she can sit on them again here. Okay.
Diese Hurenfrau, sie ist hinter die Kulissen hier und sie singt, so dass sie wieder an diese Stelle auf den Verstand der Könige
So what will
setzen
the
kann.
king do here?
So was wird der König hier tun?
Commits fornication, right?
Er begeht Unzucht,
He commits adultery,
er
okay?
begeht Ehebruch,
Because he's married basically with a true woman here,
weil er ist an dieser Stelle mit die wahre Frau verheiratet.
and now he commits adultery here.
Jetzt
Okay.
begeht er Unzucht hier.
Okay, and then therefore it's this time of oppression.
So, deswegen danach folgt diese Zeit der Unterdrückung.
Yes, everybody sees this.
Kann jeder das sehen?
So I hope that now these chapters become a little bit clearer,
So, ich hoffe, dass diese Kapitel etwa klarer geworden
and
sind.
that we can also see Revelation 13 is just a perfect parallel to Revelation 17.
Dass wir auch sehen können, dass Offenbarung 13 nur eine perfekte Parallel ist zu Offenbarung 17.
Yes. So where you have then this first 1260 deadly wound and deadly wound healed, and then same pattern.
So, 1260, tödliche Wunde geheilt und denselben Muster dann wieder.
Yes.
Amen.
Good. Then let's close for this.
Lasst uns für heute Abend Schluss machen.